Hey everybody, Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I'm bringing you yet another Pokemon battle. Today the battle is in the OU tier on Pokemon Showdown, and it is against a very well-respected player on Showdown. His name is Red Song. At the time of this battle, he was number 27 on the OU ladder, so definitely a worthy opponent, definitely going to be a tall task for me to take down, but it was actually a very good match, so I thought I'd go ahead and narrate it. So here we go. So looking at the team preview before we begin, I'm on the opposing side, and Red Song is on this side of the battle screen. Looking at his team, he has a Thundurus, which likely is going to be a support Thundurus with Prankster, Thunderwave, and Substitute, etc. He has Bisharp, which is your standard Bisharp. He has an Aegislash, which could be really any number of things. Likely going to be the standard mixed Aegislash that is very common these days. He also has a Rotom, probably standard. He has a Landorus T, which is also probably standard. And he has a Garchomp, which, looking at his team, could be a Mega Garchomp or it could just be a Choice Scarf Garchomp. If it's not a Mega, then he's running a very nice Megaless team. On my side, I'm using my one of my better teams with Deoxys Speed, Rotom Wash, Breloom Lead, Mega Tyranitar, Landorus T, and Sylveon. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So he leads off with his Thundurus, which is fine. That's a pretty standard lead, I would guess. He goes for the Substitute here, probably either expecting my switch or scouting for Rock Tomb. Turns out I do go for the Rock Tomb on that turn, and it lands, which is great, but now he's going to switch out into Landorus T, which is the safe play, knowing that he can take the Rock Tomb and knowing that it probably won't want to go for a Spore, fearing the Substitute. So he intimidates me and then switches right out into Bisharp, I guess expecting my switch, but I just go for the Spore on that turn because I do have the Focus Sash. I'm not fearing Landorus. He could have just gone for a U-turn there, but I guess he wanted to keep his Landorus awake. But now with Bisharp being asleep, that is a huge threat to my team that is actually immobilized for at least one turn, and that is very nice. That'll come into play later on. Here I go back from my Breloom into my Rotom, as it is a pretty perfect switch into a Landorus T. He sets up the Stealth Rocks on that turn, which is fine. My team really doesn't mind Stealth Rock aside from Breloom, so I'm not going to complain about it. I go for the Will-O-Wisp here on the switch, knowing that nothing on his team really wants to take a burn at all. So he goes into his Rotom to take that burn and then hits me with his own Will-O-Wisp. But that's fine for me because I do have Heal Bell on Sylveon. All that's going to do is cut my Rotom's survivability until I can get Sylveon out there safely. I go into my T-Tar here just to rack up a little bit of extra sand damage, and then I go for a Dragon Dance on this turn, realizing that I can win this match. If I get this Dragon Dance off for free, it's over. I can sweep his entire team because I have Ice Punch, I have Earthquake, and I have Stone Edge, which can demolish his entire team. But being the number 27 ranked player on Showdown that he is, he knows not to make that mistake, and he just goes for the Will-O-Wisp, either sacrificing his Rotom or preventing me from basically winning the game early on. So he makes a very nice play there, and I commend him for that. Here I go into my Rotom again on the Landorus, and he predicts that, and goes for the U-turn into his Garchomp. And here I am very scared of the Garchomp. I'm expecting it to be a Choice Scarf variant, but what I'm going to do is go into my Landorus to get off the Intimidate, just to expect what he's going, just to see what he wants to do. He just goes for the Outrage, which is fine. It's a fair play. I see that he's a Life Orb Garchomp, so that's definitely a threat, actually more so of a threat than a Scarf Garchomp would be. I go into my Sylveon knowing that I completely am immune to the Outrage, and here I actually wasn't sure on the mechanic of Outrage, like whenever I sent in a Fairy, if it would cause them to be confused at the end, like once the Outrage isn't effective. Turns out he's not confused, so that's something that I learned from this match, but he overpredicts on that turn and goes for the Swords Dance as I go for the Hyper Voice, so that is too bad for him. Earthquake would have been the safer play in that situation, but he probably expected me to try to go back into Landorus. Luckily, I do not make the obvious play, so down goes his Garchomp, and now that's very nice. Here, going to my Landorus, which may seem like a bad play, however, I was expecting him to switch. So that worked out pretty well. He goes into his own Landorus to intimidate me right back, so that's a little bit unfortunate. However, I don't really care because now I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks and then let my Landorus go down, as I am sitting in a very nice 6-4 lead. I don't think I need Landorus for anything at this point, especially seeing as how Bisharp is asleep, and I have other ways to take on Aegislash, mainly in the version of T-Tar. So we're just going to trade some Stone Edges back and forth. Luckily, neither of us miss. I hate when Hacks causes wins and losses. Turns out he just takes out my Landorus, which is totally expected. I go into my Sylveon here thinking that he'll probably want to stay in and try to Earthquake, and I'm just going to take this opportunity to go for the Heal Bell because my Tyranitar needs to not be burned for me to have a chance in this match. So I am unfortunately going to have to sacrifice Sylveon here. However, he does miss the Stone Edge, which is very nice, although I don't think it really matters because he's able to take me out with the following Earthquake because my Hyper Voice did not do nearly enough to take out the Landorus T, obviously. Although this Sylveon does have some special attack investment, so that's nice. But here I go into my T-Tar, knowing that I outspeed most Landorus as long as they aren't heavily invested in speed. I'm able to take it right out with the Ice Punch. So that's very nice. Here he goes into Aegislash, and I'm just going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake to get as much damage as possible off on it, hoping that it wasn't a weakness policy set, and luckily it was not. It turns out to be a leftover set, I believe. So that's a little bit less threatening than weakness policy or Life Orb, but it does mean he's going to be able to survive longer. Here I'm just going to go for a Volt Switch, I believe, on the Bisharp. Maybe I go for a Wisp. No, I go for a Volt Switch to get some Switch initiative, knowing that he'll probably definitely want to switch out, knowing that he needs to save Aegislash to take out my Deoxys. Here I go into my Breloom off the Volt Switch, knowing that I can scare out the Bisharp. I am just going to go ahead and go for the Mach Punch, though, I believe, just in case he wants to stay in. I didn't want to overpredict in that situation because that could be very costly, especially because those sleep turns on Bisharp are going to potentially save me the game. I go for the Bullet Seed on the Aegislash, knowing that if I can get 5 hits, I can take out the Aegislash and probably win the game right there. But I get 4. So close. However, that is not enough. I'm now down 3-2, and I know that my fully defensive Rotom is going to be able to take any hit from an Aegislash and then Revenge Kill with Hydro Pump or Volt Switch. I do go for the Hydro Pump just to be safe, also kind of knowing that it's going to King Shield anyway, and if he did want to go into Bisharp or Thundurus, it would do the most damage possible. I take the Shadow Sneak rather well, and I'm able to take out the Aegislash with the Hydro Pump, so now we're tied at 2-2. I know that Deoxys Speed is my win condition in this case. The only thing that can stop me at this point is Paralysis. Or, I guess, Bisharp waking up on the first turn, but I guess we'll see how that goes. He is able to take out my Rotom with a Thundurus, which is fine, and he's going to make the safe and correct play and go for a a substitute first on Deoxys Speed, just to get me down, I guess, a little bit further due to my Life Orb damage, probably also scouting for whatever move in case I wanted to go for Psycho Boost, that kind of thing. He's going to keep subbing down just to get as much damage on me. Again, making a very smart play, knowing that Thundurus is not going to be able to outspeed Deoxys' speed. So he goes for the Thunder Wave, and I'm able to take it out with an Ice Beam, but I am down to about 58%. However, Bisharp is asleep, and I do have Superpower on this Deoxys. So I should be able to win this game, right? Well, wrong. You see, I get fully paralyzed. So there's some sort of a trend with me in these really close matches that paralysis causes me to lose. He's able to wake up on that second turn with Bisharp and kill me off with a Sucker Punch. So that is the game. A little bit of a bitter ending, you know, a little bit of a bitter feeling from that ending. But it was a very fun match with Red Song. I'm actually quite happy that I was able to hang with him as much as I could. Looks like his ranking at the end of the battle was 1882, which was, like I said, about number 27 on the ladder. So that was a very fun match. I appreciated the chance to battle him. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and this narration, and I guess I will see you all in the next one.